Dr. Bishop, thank you for coming here today. Could you tell us a little bit about your practice?
Well, the practice is started off in Midland Children's Services. I started this in 2003 when I was just in graduate school with a concept.
Okay.
I knew that I wanted to work with children and families, and especially with African American children and families, because I felt like our services were not there for them. And beginning at Midland Children's Services, we start providing services to schools where we do counseling and provide psychological educational assessments to make sure that students are given the proper accommodations and identify properly to better themselves in their education and actually to graduate. In 2008, we created Mid-Atlantic Psychological Services because we were in the prison systems evaluating mostly African-American males who were going to be re-entering the community like a re-entry system. And so that's how Mid-Atlantic Psychological Service started. And then from there, in the practice, we started saying, let's also provide services to adults and just not children and families. So our staff is diverse in treating children, families, individual. Another part of our practice is we work at the Department of Social Services, particularly in Alexandria, where we service and assess families, mostly adults, who have had physical, sexual, emotional abuse toward the children or some kind of deficit, to evaluate their strengths in parenting, their weaknesses, and how our recommendations can help the judge and department service these families.
Phenomenal. I see that you provide a lot of services to a diverse pool of clients. And we see a lot of these practices out here. What really distinguishes you in your practice, the things that you do? What is uniquely different that you provide to your clients?
Well, our motto is changing lives for a better tomorrow.
Okay.
And on our website, we talk about that we come from an Afrocentric kind of perspective. Not everyone does that, but that's what I came out of. And so for me, anybody's in the room, their family's in the room, their ancestors in the room. Okay. And we kind of respect that energy in the room, and how does that energy impact them in their current functioning.
Interesting. So how long have you been in this practice? How long have you been teaching and mentoring and counseling individuals?
Wow, it's a long time. I got my undergraduate degree in psychology and African American studies, finished it in '94. Then I went to Howard University, got my master's in clinical social work in '98. And then I finished my doctorate in 2002 in clinical psychology. Wow. So again, the concept started for me while I was in school. And shortly after I graduated, I actually put it into paper. And I was one person, and now wow. I have 2 practices with phenomenal providers. We are also one of the few practices that actually have about 5 African American males served in the community at one location. Well, actually, 2 practices, but in one location. We have an African American male in our Alexandria office. We have 4 here in the College Park office.
Wow, you're definitely growing. That is really great. I mean, I've seen a lot of businesses that don't have the opportunity to scale, and I see that you started this by yourself and you're able to grow it to that and to bring in the type of talent and people that you have. That is phenomenal. What I really like to understand is, what kind of impact are you having in the community that you're serving from your clients? What changes have you seen due to your practice and the things that you've done?
Well, one of the biggest changes I've experienced is just in the school system that we work with. I've been blessed that I don't actually have to really apply for contracts. A lot of people actually seek us out because of our reputation. We really care about the children we serve, and I have always instructed my staff that these are our children, no matter what. Right. So when we evaluate them, we have to look at the bigger picture. What is it that's actually the barrier for them? What do we need to recommend so the school better understands these children? And the same thing at the practice. We also look at our clients individually. We don't, there's no copy and paste here. Everyone is an individual. When I construct a treatment plan, it's really tailored to that person who's in front of me, because that's who it's about in that moment. We're also a training program, so that's another way to get about the community. We have undergraduate, graduate level trainees who come and learn with us and work with us for academic year. And a lot of those students have actually become employees.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it's like sort of like a transition in when they come in and get some experience, get a little training, and then they become full-time employees.
Absolutely. I have one employee who was my student undergraduate and worked for me and then came back as a master counseling training, and now he's actually an employee. I have one that knew since undergraduate. He's now a doctor who works in this practice as well.
Wow. Definitely growing. That is phenomenal. A lot of people don't have the ability to bring people on from a training standpoint to an employee. So I love that you're able to kind of create that environment that allows people to transition from learning and understanding what they're doing in your business to becoming and working with you. That is awesome. I really would like to understand your teaching background and your methods, because everyone has a different teaching style. And so how do people, gravitate towards the style that you teach?
Well, people either love me or they hate me. That's kind of what it is. My teaching style is about critical thinking. That's always been my thing. It's critical thinking. We can read any book, but what does that mean in our lives, in our community? So when I teach, I challenge my students to think about, what is this information going to do for us? How do we go back to our grandmothers and our community and say, this is what we need. This is how we should treat each other. This is what we have to do to grow our community. And so for me, I'm about rigor. I'm not about sidestepping or shortcuts. I want my students to be able to go out and represent themselves in a way that they're educated, articulate, and able to make change. I mean, part of my social work degree is always about we're a change agent. How do we make changes? And there are certain education philosophies where I feel that there are instructors that don't challenge our kids because they've set this bar. And so one thing that's for me is their bar might be here, but my bar is here.
Right.
But my bar is attainable. Is that I know that these students have more than what people give them credit for.
No, that is absolutely right. I know I've seen, I've been in school myself, so I know certain professors don't have that rigorous training or pushing their students to excel beyond what they can actually do. So that is phenomenal. We need more people to actually challenge students at a certain par level to say, hey, you can attain this, you can achieve that goal. So with all that training, what is your target demographic in your particular practice? What clients or what people are you actually working with?
It varies. So in the school system, 100% African American. The work we do with the parenting assessments, I would say about 80 to 90% African American, but some are actually African, Middle Eastern, Chinese. It's very diverse. Here at the practice, it's just a mixed bag. One of our location choices here is that we're close to University of Maryland. So we have a MOU with the University of Maryland, so we get a lot of referrals from that university of students who are seeking counseling. And that varies from African American to Asian to Caucasian, LGBTQ. It's a wide variety.
Okay, interesting. So one of the things I've understood is that a lot of African Americans kind of hesitate to receive, mental counseling or understanding behavior counseling. What are some things that you can kind of like provide to allow them to know that it's okay to kind of like seek out this kind of consulting work, seek out this kind of counseling work?
Well, counseling is not about that, I'm going to die or, I feel hopeless all the time. Some of my counseling is, I just want to change in my life. What is it that's not working for me and I've been trying in these barriers? What is it I'm not understanding? Or what about, these relationships in my family that I might not learn good skills in, but I don't want that to carry on to the next generation. So it's really about self-empowerment. It's about what do you want to do for yourselves? And that's the whole thing about treatment plans is, what do you want to get out of here? I always explain to my clients is that this is your journey, not mine. I don't walk behind you. I don't walk in front of you. I'll walk next to you. So we're doing this together.
So could you enlighten us a little bit more on the mental health in blacks in the African American community?
Well, if I had to pick one of the number one disorders, it's usually depression and also anxiety. So that'll be the second one. Um, I just had to actually experience today. My aunt called me, my cousin who's 27, just tried to commit suicide. So he's in the hospital.
Wow.
And I've reached out to him. He's isolated himself. And they think that, they can do this on their own. Another issue I'm seeing right now, a bigger issue, is the new generation millennials with Facebook and social media, and you can tell they're just pouring out everything. And you can see just even some of their comments and the way they express themselves, that there's some underlying issues that need to be addressed, and this is the only way they can be heard. So one is the stigma of, go to church and pray it away and talk to your pastor, and actually encourage my clients to actually, if they have a spiritual advisor, to also consult with them. So we actually believe in the body, mind, and the soul, and part of that spirituality. Actually, we even ask that question in our questionnaire: do you have a spirituality history, and do you want to integrate it into the therapy? So even one of my counselors, we have a pastoral counselor here. So we believe that because it's part of the African American community, but we feel that it has to go hand in hand. So a lot of the shame that goes around mental health and stigma, some is just finances. Unfortunately, how our country is about healthcare makes it also another barrier for especially people of color to get into some of these better services.
Interesting. I know a lot of discussion on social media, people being able to talk this narcissistic behavior that happens on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, and as far as, like you mentioned before, the stigma of them having that anxiety and depression, to let everybody know what they're doing, but they're living a double life. And I know you focus on a lot of males in your practice. So what advice would you provide to some of those males who feel as though that, they're a little too tough, a little too strong to come in for counseling, to come in for help?
Well, that's always the first step. You have to recognize, one, that you need help. And two, you have to be brave enough to find the help. My caseload, actually, I have a lot of males on my caseload, but we have still far more probably females that come in for treatment. And the males that we do have, they're actually from other cultures. So we have a lot of Caucasian males and Asian males who are actually seeking therapy. And African American males in general is, I have to be strong. I have to carry the world. And we're not stopping you from trying to do that, but we're trying to help you find a better way to carry the world, because they're our leaders of our community.
So what about your women demographic? How are you handling that challenge as well?
Fine as well. Our practice is diverse between women and men. Our practice is 99% African American, therapists and providers, but we service all. So that's not women are more likely to seek treatment than our males.
Interesting. So where do you see your business in the next 5 to 10 years?
I've been trying to figure it out myself. I've got requests to open more practices.
Oh, really?
But I don't want to grow too fast. Right now, I'm comfortable with where we're at with our Alexandria office and our office here in College Park. In the future, we definitely, may open another either in DC or Baltimore area, because I've got requests in both. But for me, the difficulty is, again, when people walk through my door, they're family. We have the professional boundaries, but I look at, if this was my aunt, if this is my mother, if this is my brother, if this is my sister, what do I want from them? And so I'm all about quality of service and not quantity of service. So the people that work for me will let you know that I'm very particular about who walks up in here. Because you have to be me, because you represent me, you represent Mid-Atlantic, you represent our reputation, and you have to know what you're doing, and you have to have a real strong interest in the community that you're working with, and giving the best service you can, and not here for the dollar.
All right, I agree. I definitely agree. One thing we like to do here at Revant, we like to see how is consumer feedback, how is the feedback from your clients, from your employees, have helped improve your business?
Well, things that we have done is just talk to our consumers. Part of even in the treatment, I have this questionnaire on our note is, did we even work, how did you feel about the session? And
Right.
I do it all the time. Tell me how the session was for you. I just had a client tell me, a black male client who I work with, how this has changed his life. He has had several therapists and never finished, and this is the first time that he's actually felt connected enough to kind of follow through, and he's just noticed the change. And we like to hear from them. We're doing survey outcomes and kind of those type of measures. We talk to our school system, so we have a close relationship with them. And at the end of the year, we want to know what went well for us. What are some things that we could have improved on? So we don't go and rest on our laurels, because there's always areas to improve. But we keep the basic tenets of courtesy, professionalism, and quality of service.
Awesome. I like that. Being a father, a business owner, a husband, a grandfather, how do you manage to balance that, as well as like have a social life and being able to do certain things? How have you been able to balance that?
Well, my wife would say sometimes I can and sometimes I can't. But I think I can. I'm also active in my community and my fraternity. I'm a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, so I'm very active and working with my fraternity. My wife is also a psychologist and a professor, so I work, she also works here. She's actually a director of training, as well as an associate professor at Bowie State University. So she's very active in the practice and the training part and teaching. She has to assess. Just recently, she had a Bowie State student from school psychology shout at her in the elementary school. They kind of see how this process works and why it works well. We travel a lot. So, this year we've been on 4 vacations this year.
Wow.
We just got back and about to head to another one in the last couple months. So, and we spend quality time together. So, no matter what our day is looking like, there's always going to be time to spend. Family is important for us. So that's always been part of why we work. We understand the value of family.
Wow. Awesome. That is great. Because a lot of people who want to start a business like yourself, or in this mental health career, in psychology, a lot of them have a trouble of balancing that. So thank you for sharing that importance of like kind of creating a balance to enjoy yourself, but exactly like giving back to your community as well.
I want to add to that too.
Sure.
We go to church.
Okay.
So that's part of our knowledge too. So, there are some Sundays that we miss, but we're usually there if we're not traveling or we're just kind of overall work. But I need that spiritual nurturance to kind of get through my week. So we are very spiritual individuals.
Awesome. So where can people find you? I know you have a few locations, one in Alexandria and one in College Park. And then what is your website? Could you let everybody know what your website is and how they can kind of get in contact with you?
Yes, our website is www.mid-atlanticservices.com. There you can see who we're about, our philosophy, how we approach what the different type of services we have, and there's on the page how you can contact us. So you can send a message. I'm also on Psychology Today, so I get a lot of referrals from Psychology Today. So there's just a number of ways to reach us.
Okay. Well, guys, you heard it from Dr. Bishop. Definitely check out his services if you're interested. Check out his website. This has been a great opportunity to understand about your mental health issues and ways that you can kind of cope in society. So once again, thank you for joining. Thank you.